Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Here we go again. And in this video, we are going to cover content number 3 in our syllabus, which is on planning. So we will start again by discussing on the learning objectives that we intend to accomplish by at the end of the chapter. The three main steps of the planning process, techniques managers can use to improve the planning process, and then differentiate among the types of business level strategies, and then the types of corporate level strategies, and describe the vital role manager plays in implementing strategy to achieve organizational mission and goals. So we go to the very basic planning and strategy. As I mentioned earlier in the in the first video, when we discussed on the first chapter, planning is the first function in the management process. It involves identifying and selecting appropriate goals and courses of actions for an organization. The organizational plan that results from the planning process details the goals and the specific strategies managers will implement to attain those goals. So the outcome from the planning process is organizational plan that you are going to implement in order for you to obtain or achieve organizational goals. A strategy is a cluster of decisions about what goals to pursue, what actions to take, and how to use resources to achieve those goals. For example, our strategy could be diversification. We want to add a new product line. So if that is your strategy to diversify, so of course you need to spend a lot of money in terms of developing additional product line, a new product line in your organization. So that decision will be supported by the allocation of resources and the remaining decisions that you are going to make for your organization. Mission statement is a broad declaration of an organization's purpose that identifies the organization's products and customers and distinguishes the organization from its competitors. So maybe perhaps in your group project, these are the elements that you need to explore. You need to explain, identify in terms of what are the company's mission or the vision and the mission as well. Maybe based from your analysis, we are going to evaluate you by looking at whether or not the analysis that you have developed for that particular organization would suit or would be aligned with the mission and vision of that particular organization. So let us start with the steps in planning. So there are several steps that you need to take in the planning process. The first one is to determine the organization's mission and goals. You need to define the business as well as establishing major goals that you intend to achieve for that particular organization. And then number two, formulating the strategy, analyze the current situation and develop strategy. So here when we talk about analyze the current situation, before you can formulate strategy, you need to know your SWOT. And I believe that many of us are quite familiar with the term SWOT, and most of us would pronounce it as SWOT analysis. But that's fine. The actual pronunciation is SWOT analysis, macam huruf SWOT, dot, tozo. So it's a SWOT analysis and develop strategy. So you need to formulate the strategy by understanding the current situation through your SWOT analysis and develop the strategy. And then it goes to the implementing strategy part. Allocate resources and responsibility to achieve that particular strategies, like the one that I have already exemplified earlier on. For example, this is Nike's mission to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. So that's why Nike would sponsor major players in respective sports. For example, before this, I love tennis. Roger Federer, Nadal. Before that, like many years ago, Tiger Woods with Nike before he had that rumors or whatever issues that he had previously. So that is Nike's vision. So when they are being the top major player in their respective field, respective sports, so when they become the icon for Nike, it would create, it would inspire others to buy more Nike's products. So that's why they are willing to pay these athletes millions of dollars in terms of for supporting or become their icon for their products. So we go to the nature of planning process. So to perform the planning task, managers need to establish and discover where an organization is at the present time, determine its desired future state, and decide how to move it forward to reach that future state. Because we are planning for the future, we are not planning for something that have been developed or that have occurred in the past. We are planning for the future. Where do we want to be in the next 3 years, 5 years? So before we can do that, we need to know what do we own, what do we possess at the present time, what strengths do we have, what weaknesses that we possess that we can overcome or improve or eliminate in terms of the weaknesses. And then we need to identify our desired future state. In the next 5 years, I want to become the market leader. In the next 5 years, I want to become $1 million business, a $10 million business, for example, and decide how much, how to move it forward to reach the future state. So what we can do, we need to expand. Where is it? In the country, or do we need to go abroad, or do we need to go global, for example? So those are the things that must come together with the planning task of a particular manager. Why planning is important? It is necessary to give the organization a sense of direction and purpose, a useful way of getting managers to participate in decision making about the appropriate goals and strategies, and then help coordinate managers of different functions and divisions of an organization. Can be used as a device for controlling managers. So those are among the important reasons of planning. And planning is important also for unity, because when it comes to involve a planning, and I believe that most of us have been involved in meetings with regards to setting the direction of the company, for example. So it unites people together. If you do your planning process that involves representative of your employees from every departments and every level, this can bring on the unity within your organization. And then it also affects continuity. And planning is an ongoing process in which managers build and refine previous plans and continually modify plans at all level. It allows you to continue whatever it is that you are doing, and then it helps in terms of accuracy, and because we can look at what have been done in the past, and then what changes that needs to be made in order to make sure that our we are going to be a little bit more accurate in the near future. And then flexible, and plans can be altered if the situation changes, like what we are having at the moment. And supposedly we are supposed to have a face-to-face meeting for the class, but due to the COVID-19, and so we are quite flexible, so everybody needs to change. All right, there are three levels and different types of planning. If you look at the levels, uh, we have a corporate level, business level, and functional level. And then in terms of the goals are also different. And then in terms of the strategy, the goal setting, strategy formulation is also different in terms of based on their level. So if you look at the corporate level plan, top management decision pertaining to organization mission, overall strategy and structure, And most of the time, we as operating employees, we don't involve in terms of creating the mission of the company. Masa kita mula-mula masuk kerja, we don't even think of revising the existing corporate mission. What once you are at that corporate level, you need to determine the mission, the directions that you want to bring your organization into. And then corporate level strategy, a plan that indicates in which industry and national markets an organization intends to compete. Functional strategy, a plan of action to improve the ability of each of an organization's function to perform its task-specific activities in ways that add value to organization, goods and services. So functional strategy is more of task-specific activities lah at the functional level. Business level plans, long-term divisional goals that will allow the division to meet corporate goals. And then business level strategy, this is at the business levels in terms of how they can use or coordinate their strategies to compete effectively against the rivals in that particular industry. And functional level plan is the goals that the managers of each function will pursue to help their division attain its business goals. In terms of the time horizons, if you look at the different types of plan, we have a short-term plan, less than 1 year. Long-term plans, usually 5 years period. Intermediate term plans are between 1 to 5 years. So let us look into the types of plan. So we have a standing plan and then we have a single-use plan. Standing plans used in situation in which program decision is appropriate. For example, policies, rules, and standard operating procedures, which are in written instructions describing the exact series of actions that should be followed in a specific situation. In any form of organizations, all of them, they have these standing plans. Why? Because this is to speed up the decision making process. Should you come late for at work today, you are supposed to be there at 8:30 and then you arrive at 9. For the first time, they give you a verbal warning. Second time, verbal warning. The third time, show cause later. For example, as simple as that. And then another simple policy: once broken, considered sold. So if you go to the departmental store and you break something, so you are going to be responsible to pay for that particular broken item because that is the policy of the company. Kenapa dia memudahkan? So manager dekat mana-mana Aeon pun decision dia tetap sama. Kalau pecah, kena bayar. Sesiapa pun. Single-use plan are developed to handle non-program decision making in unusual or one-of-a-kind situations. For example, like programs, integrated sets of plans achieving certain goals, project-specific action plans to complete various aspects of a program. For example, when we organize a hype event for a particular product launching, so that is considered as a project and programs. We don't do product launching every month. Once we have the new product, then we launch. So that is considered as a single-use plans. Scenario planning or contingency planning is the generation of multiple forecasts of future conditions followed by an analysis of how to respond effectively to each of those conditions. So should anything happen like what we are having at the moment, we are experiencing at the moment, COVID-19, that is part of, and the strategy that we are using, approach that we are implementing at the moment, this is part of contingency plan. All right, we will stop here in this video and we will come back later in the next video. Assalamualaikum.